Uh,
Now, I'm just saying,
yeah.
Super Saiyan 3 was just so inefficient. I mean, we spent so much time in the show focused on Super Saiyan 3, and it was like, oh, we've got this power level, and I can reach it. And you're like, but all it was like a bad hairdo, and then they kind of just like, oh, but we need to find a new power level right after it.
But keep the
It
same hairdo, but give it different color and bring back the tail. And
Sure,
then, we'll do the mascara in red. I'm
but
like, come
but
on.
within that, was Super Saiyan 2 even really a different tier?
It's hard
Because
to
it was
justify.
little electrical
Yeah,
bolts
exactly.
on
It,
Super
it,
Saiyan
it
1.
was like I feel like it's like he took an energy drink right after he turned Super Saiyan.
So
It's
Super Saiyan
hard
2 is
to
Super Saiyan 1
see
with a Red Bull.
with a Red Bull. Exactly.
Okay, good.
The little
Good,
bit
good,
of
good.
aura around him was the Red Bull, and then when he really stresses himself out, then he gets all the hair, and then obviously that makes
Right.
him lose the eyebrows because
Yeah, and
I
his
don't know.
forehead gets like bulkier or something.
He
It,
starts
it
looking
gets
more like
weird.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally get it. Like three had its moments. I don't really think it's the most efficient. I feel like Super
No.
Saiyan God Blue right now,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
definitely,
mean,
yeah,
for sure.
blue.
I feel like they
True.
solved that problem later. I'm just saying we spent
Or
so
even
much
God Red.
time
If
kind
we're
of
gonna go do red, we'll just do red right there,
for sure.
because Vegeta's not even there. You get the blue. The Super Saiyan God Red is the ultimate, but he can't reach that obviously without other Saiyans. So yeah,
Right.
we'll have to figure something out at least. Whis
Yeah.
will definitely
Because
have an answer.
I mean, it's not even power creep at this point. It's power runaway train sprinting accelerating.
It's
It's
like
like the
you
movie
you
Speed.
you're skipping a few levels, but
For
yes.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hello there. Welcome to a show that's not about our love of Dragon Ball
Well,
Z, but our love of technology. We're two
yeah,
old guys talk about the best tech of their week. I'm Juan Carlos
absolutely.
Bagnell. This is my buddy TK Bay.
Yo, yo, yo.
And you're watching the best of our week, or you might be listening to the replay,
Oh yeah,
watching the
absolutely.
replay after the fact. If you're into the audio podcasts, of which there are
Yes,
dozens of you, and we appreciate you listening. So,
we love it.
Bionic Scoop would like to weigh in. Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan is such a long, convoluted title.
That's why you go SSJ Blue. It's just you skip the.
Right.
Yeah. It's like iPhone 13 Pro Max Ultra. Wideband, ultra wide. It just SSJ Blue.
I apologize for further derailing our podcast about smartphones and technology and gadgets. Have you seen the Dragon Ball? I forget what the company is. There's a company out of France,
Okay.
and they're doing restorations of Dragon Ball, and this is like the
I don't.
best like restored version of Dragon Ball. They haven't made it to Dragon Ball Z yet. They're just
Oh,
on
they're
Dragon
still
Ball.
they're still on the original OG Dragon Ball. Okay, okay, okay. I
The
haven't seen that. I've
They
seen
don't
some
have
fan created
English
stuff.
dubs,
Okay.
and I don't even think you can get them with English subtitles. I've only seen some like clips on YouTube videos and stuff, but like catching some of the samples, it looks so good. The
Okay.
audio is amazing.
Original
Whatever they
original
did,
Japanese audio, or are we talking
yeah,
French? Oh, okay, okay.
no, yeah,
They're not they're not sure.
I'm,
Yeah.
I don't even watch. I'm sorry. I know so many people in the voiceover community and who do like dubs and stuff like that. I don't even watch with English dubs if I can help it
No, no,
anymore.
absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know what they did or what they found. Like they found like old tape in like a bunker somewhere of the original recordings, but it sounds amazing.
Oh my
So you
god.
got it. I'll look it up.
Okay,
We
okay.
weren't really planning on talking about this,
No, no, we kind of jumped into Dragon Ball like just straight up
but
out. I mean, it could be
I
this
just
guy,
caught
but that just be
this like re-release of Dragon Ball, and it's only available in France. The only subtitles on the discs are in French. Like there is no other English or other
Hey man,
regionalization or
French is my
localization.
jam, my friend. I can
They
definitely
took it legit seriously.
when about 4 or 5 years ago, before the pandemic kind of hit us up, we went to Paris with the family, Omar, my wife and I. We were there for 1 week. It was literally a week. And the weird crazy thing about Paris, I didn't realize there was such a big Dragon Ball fan base there.
Yeah,
The mall closest to the hotel, totally we did not know this, okay? This was pure accidental. We walk into a mall the day before we're supposed to get our flights back to LA, and there is a Dragon Ball convention in that mall. with like
Oh yeah.
Dragon Ball Super displays of all characters, like all different animators. Like, oh my God, my Omar and we went just bonkers. And we're like,
Oh
how
yeah.
did we not know? Because they didn't put any signage out there. Like, it was nothing.
But
So,
it's huge. I
yes,
gotta say,
absolutely. I get it.
when it
I
comes
get it.
to
Yeah.
cinema and television, I mean, as much as people want to like rag on the French politically or whatever,
Yeah, no, I know.
uh,
That's a different episode
but
of Friends, but yeah.
they have such a wonderful expression of cinema, of filmmaking,
Hmm.
like some of the original inspiration behind genres like film noir, like French cinema, kind
Yeah.
of pioneered some of those filmmaking techniques. Some of the like one of the first examples of like an incredible caper movie,
Hmm.
you know, like a crime caper, Rafifi. Has this
Okay.
amazing sequence. It's this like crime drama, and in the middle of the film, it's like, well, we can't make noise because that'll set off the bank detection system, and this is like black and white old school photography, but they actually have like a 5-minute sequence in the film where none of the characters can make any noise, and it's recorded in that kind of like real true sort of in the moment style. But the French's sensibilities around animation rival the Japanese, where they take animation seriously
Hmm.
as an art form that can tell
Absolutely.
stories for all kinds of audiences. So it makes, I am not surprised at all. You'd land, hit Paris, and then like DBZ convention
No, but like seriously,
right
of all
there.
things, you walk into a store, you'd like, oh my God, I found this really cool anime shop. No. You find a convention and there's like
Yeah.
crazy, like, and they had like different, what's it called? Arcades set up with all the different versions. This is around the time when Dragon
I
Ball
believe
Fighter
it.
Z was coming out. And they had them
Yeah.
all set up there. So Omar and I were like
Mhm.
playing there. We're going in there. They had even games and stations for younger
I can
kids.
see you and your son like
Like seriously,
just
and,
like
and they
running
gave us
all
the little
around.
hairbands with the Super Saiyan Blue. Omar and I had that. It's like it was
I
crazy.
love it.
But seriously, we walked into that and we walked on. And we're like, oh my God, we could have totally missed
So
this had my
so
wife said, let's try go through the mall this today as opposed to around
right.
it. I was like crazy, man. But yeah, no,
So Dave is calling me some Frenchy guy, and I believe what he meant to type was not John Baguette, but Jean
Jean
Baguette.
Baguette.
So I
Yeah,
think he
you have to take
Jean Baguette.
Jean Baguette.
So I,
some Frenchy guy, Jean Baguette. That was-
my, my uncle is married to someone from France, and you're like, I don't get that joke that none of us laugh like that. Why do you Americans laugh like the French are like, and then he did that, and then we all cracked up because there was a Frenchman saying, and
It was true.
he's like sitting there like legitimately pissed, like that's not funny, but then he did it, so
But
then
he
it was
did.
really funny.
He gave it's a no. I've lived a certain. I haven't obviously I've lived here longer, but I've lived a part of my life in Paris, and I do have a lot of fond
Oh yeah,
memories. Every time I go back, I get the opportunity to relive some of the areas, like the metro, the cities, the cityscape. Just going into the neighborhoods and walking around, it just feels like a second home for me, which is weird
yeah.
because again, like this was like almost 20 something years ago. But yeah, Dragon Ball Europe, France, always going to be amazing, and hopefully I'll get a chance to check it out at some point again. We'll have to see if I'm able to get myself back into Paris at some point. I'm hoping somebody will just start putting some kind of events closer. Cause I've been to the UK, I've been to Spain this
Right.
year, and I didn't even go to Germany this year. Last year we went to Germany, so hopefully we'll see. I'm hoping, I'm hopeful, but I do want to say something before we get too far. Obviously, you dropped a
Sure.
really good video today. Really kick-ass video I've been waiting for. You also dropped a short with that as well.
Right.
But like of
The
all the
short
days you
for something
decide
to come in, right?
yeah. You do the thing on your thing and then finally I get the thing. Oh yeah. We gotta take it out of the case. So I didn't know this came with a case, by the way. Like the
Yeah.
case is crazy nice.
Like that faux leather case.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And of course, mine is all like fingerprint central. Let's see. Can we get it? Can we get it? No, Sony doesn't want to like. Hold on. Oh,
I had to just lean back and keep it in the same line as my face. But
yeah. Except I'm also gone now. Okay, great. So
so,
le-
how long have you had your Robo and Kala 2-in-1 laptop running Windows 11 on a Qualcomm 8CX Gen 3 ARM SoC powered by Windows on ARM?
First and foremost, my video dropped just 2 minutes ago. Everybody, please make sure to check out the channel and hit the like and subscribe
Right.
there.
I mean, if you've had it for more than tens of minutes and you haven't already put out a long-term review, then
Long
you
term, no,
even
yeah.
YouTube,
So here, okay,
bro.
now I can definitely
There
show
you
right there,
go.
and of course we
Now
get the
we're
pen.
cooking with napalm.
Yeah, God help us all with Sony. Sony is like really picky. If anything is reflective, it's like I'm not playing today.
You know what's
Um,
messing me up? I don't think my cameras were always like this, but my Panasonics used to have really good face detect. No, that sounds like phase detect. No,
yeah, I know you meant to say
face
face,
detection
face.
autofocus.
Yeah.
Something about the angle that I shoot when my little Soundwave action figure is behind me, it's now locking on to Soundwave and like losing focus on me. And it never
It's
used to do that. I
Soundwave
don't know
made a
what's
mod
going on
upgrade
now
on the
with my
camera, is it,
Panasonic.
where it only detects
Now,
Decepticons
don't get me
first.
wrong.
No, I
If
know.
I were the camera, I would much rather just shoot static video of some cool Transformers. I totally commiserate, but I have given the camera a job of focusing on me, and it seems to be derelict in its duties. And I am bothered by that.
Oh my God, Zoolander's in the house. Welcome to the club, my friend.
So anyway, back to
You're gonna throw
Robo
references.
and
Make sure you hit that derelict. Okay.
So no, seriously, it just arrived today.
It literally. So yeah. At about like I kid you not. I finished watching your video, and then I was writing up an email, and the door rings, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I was like, I knew I was. Well, the thing about it is, like, lately I've been losing track of some things. Like, some things will show up, but I don't even remember. And I didn't think it was coming in today. I thought the original estimate was supposed to be on Friday. But long story, maybe something happened. So they show up, they give me the box, and then I open the box, and there's like all these different little boxes.
Yeah.
Like they sent everything. Now, obviously, all of this stuff is like right. Like, see, look, I got the pen, I got a screen protector, I got the case. I
I
got the
already threw away the
keyboard.
screen protector box.
Well, I
so-
know, and I didn't really think I was going to need to keep the screen protector anyways. I just once
Oh,
you
I still
apply
have
it,
the case box though. Ugh.
but yeah, so like yeah, exactly. So it was all of the ensemble that makes this computer, this laptop computer, or this two-in-one laptop computer for Robo and Kala, really appealing. And of course, let me get Windows Hello. Come on, yes, Windows Hello for the win. And it's just very nice, like very, and of course now it's the
It's real
exposure is going
pretty.
to be crazy. Yeah, it's trying to expose for the color. Really nice, super nice, easy to set up. I installed it. I've been updating it, getting it up and running. The magnets on this thing is
So
crazy good, man.
I
Like
gotta
really.
tell you, plan for this to take a really stupid long time.
To
But you should make sure you're on the Windows Insider build.
Oh, I didn't turn that on. Yeah, no, I
It
think I'm.
goes. I went through I think 5 updates and reboots just trying to get into the most stable dev preview. But this is maybe one of the most nerdy important updates for Windows. And especially for folks here that might be watching us or listening to this podcast, as TK I mean, we're reading all of your comments. It's just we're nerding out amongst ourselves right now.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not joined on this one. I do need
Microsoft
to.
just updated the Android subsystem for Windows, and it's only the combo is only available in the developer preview builds. But this new update for the Android subsystem
On which channel,
includes.
by the way? Is it the beta channel, the
I just
dev
did beta, whatever the recommended most
recommended?
stable is. But it took me a number of reboots to get through it.
Restarting
You
now.
won't finish it tonight. Like,
Oh, I'm gonna
And-
start
and
it
tell
now
me-
because we have time.
how annoying are Microsoft updates? Because like you get your new computer and you say, "Oh, I'm going to check for updates," and you're like, "Great, it's going to see that it needs some updates," and it installs an update and it reboots, and you're awesome. Then you can go immediately back into your settings and look for updates again,
And
and it's
there's
going to find another update that you need to reboot. And you're like, "Okay, I guess you need to stack a few. That makes sense."
That's
And
absolutely that's what I
then,
was thinking. Yeah.
once you've gone through all of those, if you don't go into the Microsoft Store, then none of your
Oh, that's right.
apps
Yeah, none
have
of the apps
updated.
update. Yeah, those like it'll do Office because finally it decided to link Office to this stuff. But it's like
No. So out of the box, if you do
Hold on.
anything with Office, it's just going to throw you to a browser tab. So
my
Microsoft
God.
365 Go's mobile version until you purposely go to Microsoft365.com and install Office. And then it'll actually open up the Office apps. It's hilarious to me how segmented all of that is. But short story, incredibly long. I've already made this way more complicated than I need to.
Okay.
The new Android
downloading
update,
some more updates.
the subsystem allows for true file sharing between Windows and Android. So before, you used to have a little bucket that all of your Android apps lived in. You would really have to jump through some hoops in an Android app to tell it where to look for Windows files. Now,
it actually just uses the same file system.
Everything, and with any apps, because there aren't very many Android apps that support things like drag and drop. Now you can just drag and drop something in to an Android app. You can't even do that on Android tablets. There are so few apps that really have a drag and drop process for managing files. So this is, surprisingly, in the nerdiest way possible, the best Android tablet experience right now could be on Windows 11 hardware.
Okay, I just realized 1 second. I need to do the optional diagnostic
TK,
data.
I don't think you are as impressed with this bit of news as you should be.
No.
This is a really big deal, and I just feel like I need the acknowledgement of having shared this with our audience.
Like, oh my God, no
That's
way.
exactly, that's right
Hold
there.
on a second.
That's all I needed.
Hold on, let me get it real quick. No,
in 60 frames per second, I just needed to see that animation. Okay, then we're good. We're good. That was perfect. Thank you. Mwah.
It's like my heart. No. I am really excited. I'm very happy with the way that I typically from certain apps that I've done that I have used. I typically haven't had to access content. It's usually in case it's encapsulated in its own container. So I haven't really had to share content. But you're right with things like if I especially with this as being more of a mobile processor with the HCX Gen 3. We're looking at trying to optimize Android applications to run the way that we want them, especially since we don't have a lot of options when it comes to native applications for editing, like you had in the video. You made a good portion of the video dedicated to the fact that the GPU specifically on this, because it's the same, right? We're talking same thing as the Pro 9, the Pro 9 5G. It is it's intended to run, it installs the apps, but it just doesn't recognize the GPU. So LumaFusion doesn't do it. Obviously, there are Linux options, but I'm talking just natively within the Windows ecosystem. For me, I was thinking about maybe even trying to leverage using CapCut. I don't know if you had a chance to download or install it, but even then, maybe trying to use the mobile app, like you said, with utilizing the the new sharing options.
That's a really good idea that I completely spaced on because I've been so hyper focused on LumaFusion.
Oh, absolutely.
And I actually,
think,
I've sent the devs at LumaFusion another bug like, hey, you're going to get like 10 people. It won't be a lot, but it would be sure cool of you if you maybe brought LumaFusion over to the Amazon App Store and then I could install this directly. Because every time, so as Android hardware, we're kind of neck and neck with like single core performance. And in some ways it's better for multi-core and in some ways it's deficient. But we're not too far removed from like an 8 Gen 1.
No, not on specifically with this one. No, yeah,
and that's, I don't want that to slide by people because Microsoft has arrived at a way to emulate Android and run Android apps that is actually more proficient than running Android apps on like a Core i5 Chromebook. The performance is better on a Microsoft system than through a Google-based Chrome OS.
The Chrome
system.
OS. It's,
so I need to see, because you can pretty easily snag a CapCut APK, right? There's no like other subsystem or verification or Google Play service
CapCut,
that you need to run.
Well, okay, so the only thing CapCut it needs to be connected to the internet. That's the only thing about CapCut.
But that's what I mean.
Other than that,
is like LumaFusion has to do a verification through Google Play services that you've purchased LumaFusion. So even if I could gank the APK, there's
because
no way for me
the
to verify the
APK
purchase.
in its core experience, CapCut is a free app, so it does not
Yeah.
necessarily need to be connected. The only thing, like I said, what it does, it just connects to their servers, and once it's a really finicky service too. Once it recognizes you're running on a phone that's made for China, where they cannot run their billing system, they don't charge
Right.
you for pro stuff. Like the pro features in the China edition
Yeah.
on a Chinese phone on CapCut, very different than on a Pixel
Sure.
and a Motorola, because you suddenly see like,
Why
wait a minute,
not?
what are these pro features? I was just using it for free on my Xiaomi 13 Ultra, which by the way is now green. Green, my friend. I am in.
Green was the correct color choice. It's
It
the
is
best
well.
way
I mean,
to
yeah,
be.
but the green with the grip, my friend.
Yeah.
The
Look at
grip
that.
with the lens cover.
I'm so mad because I'm pretty sure I put in my order before you, and I just got my shipping notification that
So-
mine's going to be showing up soon. So
Wait, quick question. Did you order it with something else, or is it just the case?
no, I
just
ordered the phone and the case on the
Oh.
minute that the one
Yeah, you had
terabyte
it like at
option
least.
went live.
I want to say at least a week before me. I
But somehow my order for the case. So here's what I think happened. I don't want to be inconsiderate because it's a bit gauche to ask what people paid for things,
sure.
but
I'm sure I paid more than you. That I know.
paid more because
Way more.
when I put my order in for the case, the
Mm-hmm.
markup was very minimal over what the price in China was.
Well, I paid
So-
double the price of. Or, no, wait, no more. It was 80. It was supposed to be $80 in China, right? $79.99, I think. I paid 170 for the actual for the kit itself. But I opted for, and this is where it's going to sound really stupid. I opted for the most inexpensive shipping that they had, which was only $2 or $3
Oh yeah,
more.
I didn't. I
Because
knew it was going to be late, so I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't pay extra.
when I was ordering, it was like I knew it was going to be at least, but I didn't realize it was going to be this late too. So I know, yeah, I'm pretty sure I
So-
paid way more, and it's like 200 now.
So I mean, is that what you were paying closer to 200?
No. Mine was 169.99. So mine was
Oh, okay.
literally about double the price, a little bit over. So from 80.
So mine was 140.
Oh, so yours was double.
in
Okay, so
between-
yeah, mine was
in
even
between
more.
you and me. They found a way to add another $30, and then
Mm-hmm.
in between you and everyone else, they found a way to add another $30.
So the only thing I probably will say, maybe this had something to do with it. I did reach out to them on their support page.
I've been asking like
Oh,
weekly.
okay. So yeah, okay.
So no. It's
not
it's
just
not
me.
like I haven't been putting a bug in their ear. I know I was earlier than most of the people that are getting them now, but I think they haven't made much money on me, so I was reprioritized in
That
the
would
list.
Yeah, it's still a markup though. It's not like, I mean, if they had charged you retail, like maybe 100
I
or
think it
something,
depends on
would've
how
been
they're sourcing them, because
That could be, yeah.
the shop that we're working with, they are buying something and sending it out.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
scalpers went nuts on ganking all of these cases on that very first batch. So,
The good thing that if I'm not mistaken, I think what's going on is they're starting to get stock. So that's the good thing. Why most of us are starting to get our units, and yours will be here soon. The other thing, I think it's because of the global launch of the 13 Ultra, which we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. That's also probably that second wave where Xiaomi made more. Right. Initially, they thought this was going to be this really boutiquey. Nobody's going to want to get this. It says 80
and
at
they
the
were
time.
wrong.
Yeah, they were they're like, you should have doubled and tripled down on this, my friend. But
Isn't this exactly what we've been talking about for years? This is what I've been begging Sony to do: is make a first-party camera-focused accessories kit.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
it-
big shock, on a really good camera-focused phone, this was a popular accessory.
And one that I did not think I was willing to spend this much money on. This was the weird part. At the beginning, when we first talked about it, $80 for me was like, it's a case with a remote and all of that. But then I saw Josh's when we were in Chicago for Moto, and then I got a chance to play with that a little bit. And then I saw our buddy Ben, and he has his as well. They were part of the original launch event. It provides a very different experience. And I've said this to many people before. My phone you will not see the 13 Ultra in any other shape other than this. This is pretty much how it's going to be from now on.
How it's lived.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The control, what I love about it, there's an extra mode in the camera option, Quick Snap, that turns on when you turn on the actual controller. So it connects, turns on, And then if you do the full press on it, it turns on and it takes you straight into the camera with quick snap. So much of a Sony experience, and it does that half
Yep.
press. I was showing Omar. I said, "Look, you need to learn how to do the half press and the full press because if you just do half press, it just just focuses and you can see all the
For sure.
different focus elements." I'm like going through all of that, and then I need to buy some filters. Obviously, there's a filter add-on in here where you can remove and put the filter in there, so it lets you remove the ring around the camera, and then you can mount
Yeah.
the filter head. So that's really cool. And of course, otherwise you could just keep it with the cap and get that Lumia vibe kind of going on. A lot of people are keeping
Right.
me up with that. Charge
That's really cute that you're having to teach Omar about like
because so this summer's been a little bit of an interesting experience for us. I've put a heavy focus on teaching him how to edit, teaching him how to capture content. I want him by the end of summer to truly be able to do everything I can do. I mean, till he's ready to be on camera.
sure.
Behind the scene, I want him to learn all of the trade secrets and things that we do. Not secrets, but things that we do. It's like a lot of this
Yeah.
could be figured out.
We don't really have secrets. I mean,
No,
you've
no,
seen
no.
our videos. You know what we do.
And a lot of the shots, some of the shots that I was doing on the ROG phone, the ROG laptop, the Zephyrus G16, I had him help me with that. He was playing some games on that as well. It's a really cool laptop. I dropped the video earlier this week. So, and then of course with the Note 30 and more things coming up,
Sure.
as well as with the Robo and Kala. Yeah, he's going to be playing a very big role in most of my production this summer. So yeah, he is literally
So
in apprentice school.
I'm not trying to make this a my kid is better than your kid kind of a thing.
I love famous
It's just
famous last
because
words. I'm not trying to run up you, but let me
I mean, not to be a jerk. Let me
oh
just say the jerkiest thing that I could say next. But the thing with Lex is she's already learning about back button focus on
oh for the
DSLRs.
love of God.
So
And you
here
had that
she is
ready
with,
somehow.
with my 7D, and
Oh
she
yeah, that's right. I
understands
remember
that
one.
like
Yeah.
on the Panasonics, you have to press and then that gets focus and then you finish the button press. But on the big camera, there's a button on the back for her thumb to then focus. She can't quite grip and hold the camera well to get index finger, so she uses middle finger for shutter. And so she's already learning about the different focusing systems on different cameras, going
Absolutely.
back to something as purely mechanical as like a 13-year-old Canon 7D. So I just had a little proud papa moment because
Absolutely.
she's she's actually got a pretty good eye for composition
So
for a
speaking of Papa,
7-year-old.
a little bit of it's if because we're not going to get a chance to see each other. I was hoping we were going to be able to do an in person this week.
Kind of got weird.
I do want to say a happy early Father's Day to you, of course,
Hey,
and
happy
to your
Father's
dad.
Day.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this Sunday for everybody, obviously, if you live in the U.S. or I'm assuming, I want to say Father's Day is internationally the same day, but I don't quote me on this. I know Mother's Day isn't, because I know like in Lebanon it's in April and in the U.S. it's in May. But well, Father's Day is going to be celebrated on this Sunday, of course, as well as obviously Monday. It's a holiday for us here in the U.S., Juneteenth, but it is a day to celebrate the dads, the dads, the powerhouses, the dudes that hold things down and go do take care of stuff and help around the house and try to be there and try to be everything at all the time. And yeah, man, it's amazing once you become a dad how your life changes.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like it has more meaning, but it's almost like it kind of settles into the. I feel like it's in place.
Yeah, I don't think it's a more meaning kind of a thing, but it has redefined
Yeah, yeah,
what I feel my life is set to represent. And no shade on anyone who has decided not to have their life
absolutely. No,
similarly
absolutely.
redefined
Yeah.
like that.
It,
But yeah, it's a ride I'm definitely excited to be on. So that is a wonderful sentiment for everybody as we kind of wrap up this week and we get into the weekend. I hope.
yeah.
If you are of the situation or of the perspective to celebrate something like a Father's Day, I
Or
hope
celebrate
you are.
celebrate your dads, celebrate your dad figures, or anybody that you feel like was there and you feel like represents that role. Obviously, that's the main thing. I can
Yeah,
tell you for honestly, growing up, I never had my dad with me, so I always had other father figures, and my mom was my
yeah.
dad in many ways. So it
That's
in
another
a
one too. Is like
yeah,
I know people get really up in their feelings about like, well, this is a Mother's Day and it needs to mean this, and I kind of feel like I am so fortunate that my family is an any reason to have a party family. Like,
Yeah.
my dad is Catholic. I was a confirmed Catholic, and now I'm a lapsed Catholic. But like, if there's some obscure ritual day that we want to turn into a barbecue, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Like,
Happy
we
Father's
would
Day.
celebrate Hanukkah with our friends. I like was going to Kwanzaa ceremonies in college. I am down to appreciate what it is that you are trying to celebrate, and I am here for it. So
Absolutely.
if Father's Day is a day to remember your mom, make it a second Mother's Day and have
Yeah,
a good time and go barbecue and go
exactly.
and like have that party. And that to me
And I
is
think
is
that's
what
the
these days
biggest thing.
should represent.
Absolutely. And what is the number one thing dads and or father figures love? It's tech. Because according to including to all of the ads that we've been watching all day long,
Right.
dads want that latest gadget, and
How
that's what they
gross
want.
has your email been over the last month with
Oh
dads
my
eager
God.
ads?
Father's Day special. Include this in your Father's Day roundup. Include this special. This is great for father. And I'm like,
I
I'm a dad. I not 90% of these I don't really like. I don't know.
don't you find that like I have run out of opportunities to like talk about stuff like that without it just being a constant spam machine of marketing and advertising and like I don't know anyone that really wants to engage that really does engage with
I I feel
deal
like
after deal after deal after deal after
there's
affiliate link
very
after
few.
affiliate link.
and
Yeah.
and 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 I'll say that the reality is obviously with the stuff that we were we have our we do typically have some our affiliate things and stuff like that. I typically don't point to them. This is the biggest thing about it. I no longer say in my video, please check the links in the description below, because to me it is a derivative of, look, if you're looking for more information, the description box is there. That is something I don't try to drive, but I have followed a couple of I think it was one or two on TikTok where they do those instantaneous kind of like today on Amazon or today on Costco and whatever and
Okay.
all of that. But dude, honestly, like after watching two of those, are like I'm done. I don't really want to keep watching. And all
Yeah.
this is like it's a continuous loop of an ad,
Yeah.
ad, ad,
Well,
ad,
and
ad, ad.
Marie and I were talking about that too, and it's just like it's funny to me because Instagram. This was a part of a much larger conversation that Marie and I were having about like monetizing web traffic and social media, and so to try and sum it all up without what was like 45 minutes of conversation between my wife and I. But
Hmm.
we were talking about like how both of our Instagram behavior has basically fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
And I was bringing up like not only has Instagram made their platform worse, but they're actively trying to get you to do things that take you away from Instagram. And she was bringing up like, well, I don't know. I mean, I think the ads kind of work because I was scrolling through my feed and I saw one of those like you could buy this thing. And I was like, "Oh, that looks really cool." And I was like, "Okay, but did you buy it through Instagram?" And she kind of thought, and you're like, "Well, no, I went and
Went to
looked it
Amazon.
up online, and
Yeah.
then that took me to an Amazon link." So here's what Instagram did. They interrupted you catching up with your friends. They interrupted you scanning through photos because that's all. She doesn't really like shorts and reels and things like that either. She likes to browse with the sound off.
Hmm.
So you stopped using Instagram to look at this ad. And then not only did you not buy it through Instagram, you went off site. So you completely left the Instagram app. You're like
No, it's happened
shoehorning
to me.
shopping into TikTok is exactly not what people want to use TikTok
It's
for.
because in instinct we are instinctively knowing, or we know now that the first thing that ever comes in front of you is typically not the best thing always. So you always want to try to
Right.
find a better deal. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm actually sitting on something right now that came up in a similar experience to Marie in
Mm-hmm.
the approach. I was
Oh
looking
yeah.
for seat cushions, and it's obviously Instagram and everything was listening. It started popping up with those. I saw one. It was really cool. Opened up the link, and I'm like, Google
Mm.
searched it, found something better on Amazon, was $30 cheaper than what it was supposed to be. Like, so the stack and the cost, because obviously you have to remember, Instagram is making a cut. The company that's
Mm-hmm.
posting on Instagram has to
It's
pay fees.
another middleman,
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
another
probably a
middleman
middleman
that,
in
yeah,
front of a
and
distributor in front of the manufacturer.
absolutely. So you're talking about multiple layers and upon layers, and some people may find that very helpful. So from a consumer's experience though, and at least I'm not going to say my generation, but like people that typically are shoppers, savvy shoppers, they're going to try to compare pricing. They're not going to accept it just because Instagram threw it.
I
Yeah.
don't know anyone in this economy who is engaging in the same kind of frivolous insta buy
Yeah.
kind
No.
of behavior that they would have been doing like 5 years ago.
Especially
And
with
it's
things online.
yeah. Well, and how little trust there is on online marketplaces now. But the one that's really bothering me is YouTube, is because they've
Okay.
got their own like, oh, you can link a product. Well,
Shoppable.
if you're
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that, but I can't use it for some reason. But yeah.
no. There's a reason. I know you are feeling me on exactly why this is problematic. But one, I don't know where I'm sending my viewers on that linked product. Who
Yeah.
are they doing business with? Because there's no disclosure on, is this like directly from a manufacturer? Is this another distributor? Is this a wholesaler? Is this gray market? If you buy something that way, how did they source it and how did they get it to you? I have no idea. But two, we regularly play with products that can't be listed on their service.
Yep. Oh,
So
most like I would say a good number of them, we are
I have
ahead
to
of the
go
curve.
back months late. Even if we're not talking about embargo stuff, like I just buy something and I use it myself. We are so on the bleeding edge of tech. It's not listed on YouTube.
Hmm.
YouTube has no access to these products. So like again, I know like take OnePlus for example.
Oh yeah.
If you try and link OnePlus in your videos to these products, almost always you've got to wait a long time before it's showing up as a proper item that
Yeah.
you can link. And then
Exactly.
I know you're not buying it from OnePlus. So why would I send you there? Go to OnePlus and buy it directly from the company that's also going to be supporting and warranting your product and
It's
validating
the other
shipping.
things exactly. It's at least if you buy it from OnePlus, you're buying it from Amazon, you're buying it from from a reputable store. There is some type of a return policy exchange, some kind of a consumer experience. I started getting those, so I qualified finally for the shoppable links or whatever the linking products
Yeah.
in there. But here's the other caveat to that. We, or at least I, use DaVinci to upload my video straight to YouTube once it renders. I don't render the video, sit on it, and go to YouTube, and then go
Sure.
in and add. I like to basically truncate and do things right out of the box. So my video gets uploaded straight to YouTube using DaVinci, and my thumbnail gets posted with it, everything. So for the most part, I just go in there and start coding everything. The shoppable function isn't available there. You have to do it when you're uploading the video to be able to link the products in when you're showing things, unless you're doing a live, or if you're using it on Reels, it's even worse. If you have music on your Reels, you can't
Right.
add links. So long story is, functionally it doesn't work for me. So at the end of the day, I ended up just basically giving up on it. I think
Yeah.
as a function, I felt like the link in the description to OnePlus's website, where that's the other thing with OnePlus, they typically do promotions and stuff.
Sure.
You have no idea when, by the time this link is functional, if the promotion is there. Right now, the Nord 30 is available with a free pair of OnePlus Buds Nord 2. Those are the latest buds that they release, and that is an absolute kick-ass saving. If you're
Sure.
buying it from Amazon, from OnePlus's website, if you go with T-Mobile, which is even a better deal, it's like $270. It's $40, $30 cheaper than the MSRP
Yeah.
price. So, or free, of course. There's the free option if you add a line with T-Mobile and all of that. So it's a tough conversation to make the decision to go one way or another. And I can see it maybe from a new creator, it may be more functional because they don't have to set up multiple accounts and stuff. But when you have an established ecosystem, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's so fresh and such a new creator that they're going to get into YouTube, build up an audience to the new higher and stricter criteria to monetize,
The higher level, yeah.
look at what they can do to make money on being some kind of influencer, and then interact with YouTube and go, yep, I linked that product, done my job, that's going to make me money. And then not question like,
Where is
but
where
this
is
is
it going?
bad for me, and I don't think anyone's going to get a good deal. Again, it's like 5 years ago, I would have thought maybe there are some people who immediately see I am talking about this product, they want to click buy, and they don't want any barriers to acquiring that product, and that's the direct kind of consumer interaction that they want. I'll include the linking of the product just for the imaginary person that I just created in my head.
Yeah.
Sure. But now even the time for me to spend trying to link products in my YouTube videos is not worth my effort. And it's increasingly something I'm not sure I want to send any of my audience on that kind of a purchasing journey. So I just thought it was kind of crazy.
No,
Completely off the thread of
Yeah,
where we
yeah.
started.
No.
I did want to ask, like, you've been setting up your Robo Ancala.
I'm still, yeah.
You also
actually.
were with me and playing with the Surface Pro 9. So
Yeah.
obviously you have picked up the Robo Ancala and you have determined that it's a big miss having this aspect ratio display.
No, actually,
it is
it
not
felt
usable, and it's obviously
It
a
felt
complete fail. And
natural.
the only product worth using is a Surface Pro 9 because
So
it's a 3:2
I'll
aspect ratio.
I'll say I just got off. So the video that I dropped earlier this week was a 16:10 aspect ratio laptop as well, which
I just swallowed the bile that I almost projectile
Projectiled on the
expelled
lens,
into
yeah.
my camera. Right.
Yeah,
Because
no.
you just said 16:10 to me.
Yeah,
And that is
it's
obviously incorrect.
to me it's so I'll say this: the Robo Kala has a very familiar experience for me.
Sure.
It isn't. It has a lot of aspirations from what we saw with the Pro 9 5G, and
Oh, yeah.
and to a certain point, I'll say this: I really like the Pro 9 5G. I really like what Microsoft
really
did
like
with
the
it.
Pro 9,
The
yeah.
form factor, the functionality, the battery life, the 5G connectivity, all of the things that they did there were absolutely what I felt like was the aspirational move position that we should be when we talk about basically Windows on ARM and how it could be a Pro. Like you said in your video, they
Sure.
threw the Pro in there, and it is truly a Pro experience. Robo Kala took all the core experiences, and at least from what I've seen at this point with the material, the kickstand, the setup, the keyboard, the pen, even the accessory that they have in there with the case and all of that stuff. It is a very well put together experience that I feel like it's a very good competitor. And I feel like we're at least the differences that I'm starting to feel like the keyboard is different, right? The felt,
Yeah.
the experience that we have on the Microsoft one with the ability of hiding the pen inside and
Sure.
charging it through there, that's a unique thing. That's a Microsoft thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they've done a decent job. It's
Yeah.
very nice. It sits on the side where the USB-C ports are not, which is good. Sits inside the case with it without dropping, which is also good. There's a thought process there.
Yeah.
So
You can clearly see that they could not copy every element of
Oh,
what
I mean,
makes a
and
Surface Pro a Surface
they
Pro,
wanna
but
make it a unique, yeah.
they've arrived at thoughtful solutions
absolutely.
to replace some of that functionality.
Yeah.
I'm purposely being snarky because I got this one comment from someone who was like, big miss on this aspect ratio. Why didn't they use 3:2? And against my better judgment, that's a comment that usually I would just ignore. But like, seriously, that one kind of caught me by surprise because it was the finality and the confidence of that statement that maybe I missed something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every MacBook screen since the Intel line of MacBooks has been 16:10. 2560 by 1600 is a really great professional aspect ratio. It's just that tiny bit wider, so it's a little bit better for media, but it's not as good for media as 16:9.
Yeah.
16:10 is this kind of
Because
good
it's not
balance.
the native resolution that everything is shot in right now still.
But
16:9 is like,
it's
yeah.
the good balance between picking something up in a tablet where you're usually going square, like 4:3.
Mm-hmm.
Even the OnePlus pad is closer to the iPad aspect ratio,
7
and it's
by
a more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's 7:5,
7:5,
which
yeah.
is 4. How to do math in my head? It's like 4.3:3 or 4.2:3, something like that.
Yeah,
but it's
no,
closer to 4:3.
You could see the
So-
aspiration where they got it from, but yeah, no, I'm with you.
Sure. Again, a very clear target in their sights. But again, so this guy says like, "Oh, it's a big miss," and I go, "Okay, well, what am I missing? What productivity are you achieving at 3:2, which is technically 15:10,
Mm-hmm.
that you can't do at 16:10? So in terms of your aspect ratio width, it is
Just a little.
1/15 different."
Yeah, yeah.
Which, if you were at the same resolution, is a difference of 160 pixels. So I want you to look at what 160 pixels look on a quad HD display and tell me that that strip is so meaningful that someone would declare this a big miss. And then this person and I went back like 4 back and forths where they never had a reason. But it was always, oh, you expect me to explain to you how a taller screen is going to be more. Yes, that's why I asked. What app is so benefited by having like 100 extra pixels at the top of your screen? Because I don't see it. I don't see what you're getting at. And so eventually I muted him because then I was going to do the short making fun of his comment. And I genuinely don't want people brigading other folks in my comments. So instead of just continuing that, which was wasting my time, I just sort of disappeared him.
Yeah.
But I still had to make the short.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah, you dropped the short in there as well as you had the video drop in as well. I think, look, the form factor is... okay, what Robo and Kala, at least to my understanding, is they're really trying to mimic more of a laptop experience.
For sure.
The dock and the tablet, it is a 2-in-1. You could totally use this as a separate tool, like, a separate tablet separated from the keyboard. That little extra feature that they had in there, which really won me over from the Pro 9, was that Bluetooth functionality. Where you separate it back. You connect this to a TV, right? You plug it in. You put, like, you're in a hotel. You put the tablet on the table, on the desk, under the TV. You plug it into the TV. You sit back on the bed with the keyboard and mouse, and you're just like absolutely jamming. That was a kick-ass. And I feel like Microsoft
or you just have a deeper desk and you want to prop this up and go dual display, and then, I mean, obviously it would be better to have your like a dedicated keyboard and mouse, but you don't need to. You can immediately go to this. But to me, this is kind of an interesting balance where I think a Surface Pro, and I'm talking about minutia differences here. I am not talking about as like broadly accessible trends. I'm not sure many people would notice the difference between 3x2 and 16x10. 16x10 is 3.2x2. That's what we're talking about, a 0.2 ratio difference between these two types of screens. But ever so slightly, I think a Surface Pro is a little easier to hold in a portrait orientation. But both of these are tablets with built-in kickstands. So they are built to be propped up on desks easily and then used in a variety of different ways, which is why we are jumping between 3x2 and 16x10. This is different than an iPad, which really isn't a great desktop computer experience. It's built to be more of a handheld slate, and it's different than other tablets that are more widescreen for media, gaming, and watching videos. That would be 16x9. So again, it was just one of those things like I'm running into someone who can't explain why this is the hill they need to die on, and they're very up in their feels about it.
Well, because
so
they got called out by that knee-jerk reaction they needed to do of throwing a comment thinking, well, he's just not going to answer it, but I get the point across. No, I get it. It's a tough conversation to have, but you really need to be able to back up. At least if you're going to make a comment like that, especially when you know that the creators are looking, they go through their comments, they do engage with the audience.
Because I should have listened to my instincts and just like bounced on this guy, but it was like, wait a minute. I kind of want to know, because I've heard from other people like, hey, I really prefer 3x2. I really prefer having a taller screen on my laptop. I miss having 4x3 displays. Like, okay, let me just ask, because I don't want to miss something. And then the answer came back like, what do you mean? How could you not know? It's obviously the preferred. And then he started bringing up like other monitors. You know, like LG even made like a double tall monitor that one time. And he was like, that's not 3x2. What are you talking about? And then it was like, this guy really did lose the plot. So instead, I'm just going to make fun of him in a short.
The good thing about it is, I think for me at least, because of that kickstand and it's natively supported in here, the display stands very nicely in both orientations very clearly. And one of the things that you pointed out in your video as well is that it opens up almost entirely to make it super flat if you want to be able to work straight on it, but have it slightly tilted.
So
it's super nice.
Robo and Call, I have my video out now. Robo and Call is sponsored, and I pitched them like what I would really like to focus on is the flexibility of using Windows on ARM to also support Windows, x86, Linux, and Android apps. And then the tablet came in, and after I'd already pitched them that, it was like, this is so closely built to do battle with the Surface Pro 9. I don't usually turn these kinds of videos into comparisons, but I had to sort of imply a bigger comparison than what I really pitched the
So
company.
I gotta apparently re-register the Windows Hello.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
it
it was gonna
it
wipe
does
out.
stuff like that.
Yeah. All set. Okay, good. So because I was like, I restarted it, and I was like, why is my Windows Hello not working? And it's like, nope, we have re-register it. Checking for updates. Okay, so I'm going through the cycles as we're talking right now because, we could double duty and do all of that good stuff at the same
For
time.
sure.
But
But
yeah,
tell me,
so
it doesn't give off an amazing first impression.
it
It
does. It
really
does.
is delightfully built hardware.
Very you could definitely okay, it has a very premium feel to it. The materials that they chose to go with, it's all metal. It has some weight into it. You could feel that, where the batteries are. The charger is in the box. The cable for that to charge as well is in the box. And of course, although the accessories and everything was like in separate boxes and so on, you could definitely, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was looking at it, it comes in some bundles sometimes. You're able to combine some
Yeah.
things together. But I'm glad they put in a screen protector because that's usually my biggest problem. Like, glad
It's a concern on a
displays-
tablet. Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, absolutely. And like that's one of my biggest thing right now with the with the Motorola, the Edge Plus 2023. I'm trying to find a good glass protector for it, and I haven't been able to. Like the only ones I can
Yeah.
find are the glass protectors with the adhesive all around the edges, which creates a gap between the glass and the display, and it's just never is 100%, especially when you're trying to use fingerprint sensors. It
And
just
the folks
destroys
at
the
like
experience.
Whitestone Dome are so good about supporting phone brands, but this one's even a reach for them.
Yeah, it's I
Yeah.
think it just needs to be a little bit more. I'm hoping maybe there'll be more some more traffic. I got okay, so the guys over at Whitestone sent me the what's it called? The Pixel Fold case and glass protectors and
Nice.
stuff like that. And I'm like, "Great. I didn't buy one."
But that's cool.
I may have access to one. A friend of mine has one. I may be able to maybe do a quick video on it, but like I wasn't planning. I Look, don't get me wrong. We're getting closest. We're getting very close to the launch of the Pixel tablet, the Pixel Fold,
Yeah.
and I will say this: my card did get charged for the Pixel tablet this morning, so
Nice.
I know that it should. I mean, it was projected to deliver by like the 20th. So sometime by next week, maybe Tuesday or so, I should be getting that.
Very
And the
nice.
Fold was supposed to be a week later, but I don't have the Fold. I just didn't see. Oh man, I couldn't find a justification between that and then of course with summer and family and all of that good stuff. It was just too big of an expense for me. And the form factor is something that I'm very comfortable with. And I have two foldables with the same
Sure.
form factor. So I decided to take a little bit of a, like I was like, okay, I'll take a step back from this one. And if it comes on like, so it's not the same obviously, but this is Oppo. Oppo has the
Yeah.
exact same form factor for me. And the Find N2 to me is a champ. So and so I'm happy with it. If it does come to jump on demand on T-Mobile, I may take the plunge there because then I'm not really committing to buying it. It's
Sure.
like leasing it for a month or a couple of months or so. I can do some content on that and then maybe at that point change to something else.
I'm having a hard time not really just sort of wallowing in my personal feels because I loved the Duos
Yeah.
and I still use the Duos quite a bit. Like they become our kitchen tablets just because you can like literally you can bend it around a cabinet. So
Oh,
that
absolutely.
You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
have
You
your
could
recipe
definitely
up at eye
julienne very
level.
easily. I'm sorry.
Oh, the edge is so thin. It just like
Exactly.
it's such a precise edge to cut. I mean, it's really quite lovely.
You get your notifications and you cut the sandwich right there. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
But this is the trouble I have
Okay.
is playing with something glorious like Moto Ready 4 or Samsung DeX,
Yeah.
where it genuinely does create a computer displacing use for your phone, but you can plug it into another screen and use it tablet-y if you want. You're not married to having twice the bulk in your pocket. You have a phone when you want a phone, and when you want to carry something else for additional screen real estate or plug into another monitor, you can displace a computer.
Yep.
Now I've been playing with things like the Surface Pro 9 and this Robo and Kala, and now I have higher expectations of a tablet, where even the OnePlus Pad, it is a better deal, just like dollar for dollar, but over the life of that product, I feel a Surface Pro 9 or this Robo and Kala with a true operating system, I feel like that's a more future-proofed buy for people who might start really using their tablets more. If it's just
Absolutely.
for entertainment and multimedia, you can go a lot cheaper,
Yep.
get yourself like a Lenovo and stream videos on a great OLED on a Lenovo. So now I could buy a crazy expensive ultra tier phone that also displaces laptop use, and I could buy a really nice multimedia streaming tablet for when I just want some entertainment for less than the price of a Pixel Fold. I'm having a real hard time. Mix in some of these other things like portable displays, laptop docks, or wearable,
Oh yeah.
screens and
Yeah,
glasses.
that like the Rocket Max. Yeah.
And TK, I'm having a hard time with a folding tablet that kind of awkwardly fits in your pocket. There are
But
all of these other use cases and scenarios that I think do this better and cheaper.
it's those little, but it's those little extras that kind of got me a little bit. And again, I'm not trying to make it sound like I don't think that the Pixel Fold has a place. I'm just saying is from a justification point from where we are, what we have access to,
Right.
and what we've experienced. We pretty much know that the Pixel Fold will not have video out. We know that the Pixel Fold will not have a desktop experience. So from a functional aspect, the Pixel Fold will pretty much keep everything within it on its own. And it's going to leverage obviously Google services. Exactly. It's trying to, you're not going to be able to access any of these things. I mean, you can do keyboard and mouse, but you won't be able to do the external display. You won't have the ability of projecting. I mean, I'll say this, even this, okay, and I'm not picking any embargoes with this one. Hold on, let me just try to make it focus. Even the Razer Plus from Motorola has ready for. It's
Yeah.
not wireless. It's not wired ready for, but it is ready for. I can still use it and leverage
Yeah.
the 8 Plus Gen 1 off of this sucker. So to me, those are some of the things when I was like looking at this tablet and I was like, okay, is this something that I would want to jump on right now? From everything that I've seen from Google, I'll be honest with you, I would be more excited to see what the Tensor 3 is going to perform and the
Sure.
8 Plus, the 8 Pro is going to do from an experience, because I feel like 90% of the experience on the Pixel Fold for me, I've already experienced the form factor, so it's not a new form factor for me.
Yeah.
But I've also had almost all of the functionalities inside of my, Pixel 7 Pro. Like again, so to me, I still need to wait a little bit more. I may wait a little bit and see if there are some maybe unique Pixel features that are going to
sure.
come down. It's just it was never announced. There was nothing talked about other than just core Pixel experience. And for that, I feel like $1,800 to start. It was a little bit. It was hard for me to take the plunge on.
I
And the
don't
trade-in
think-
values were not that good. That was the other
Well,
thing.
no
Trade-ins were
one's
not
going to
as
be
good.
rocking trade-ins, right? Not in this
Yeah.
economy.
Not
Even
anymore.
Samsung's
Oh, yeah,
walked
yeah.
back their trade-in deals. So I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but this is the explanation that I need to put out there for people why I'm not jumping hard on this generation of foldables and why I've been excited about some of these other experiences. I want people to, because again, I don't think my core argument is the Pixel Fold is too expensive. I think the Pixel Fold is priced appropriately. As soon as you build a hinge into a product, we have to expect that manufacturing, that engineering, and that design, and that R&D is significantly more expensive than a slate phone.
Absolutely.
But what I care about in mixing some of these modes and mixing some of these experiences, after having used the Duos, where I felt the Duo form factor helped usher in a radical departure. That's why I jumped on the Duos. I mean, the first time you pick up a Duo and you see how incredibly crazy thin those panels are, nothing like that has ever been made. Now we're starting to make foldables more like the Duos. So now I think people are starting to understand why I was so impressed with the form factor of the Duo. It's
Absolutely.
making a bit more sense.
Yeah.
But I care more about cameras. I care more about desktop and laptop style use. I care more about augmented reality at a consumer level, not at a ridiculous dev kit expensive level, something you can really buy and own and play with today.
Yeah.
That's what I want to share. And unfortunately, that's going to be a sour spot for me with Google. I'm going to be stoked for the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro.
Yeah.
Because they are going to deliver what I think Google does really well on a slate camera phone focused experience.
And
The
I think that's,
foldables,
yeah.
I'm having a bit more trouble understanding how I would use them in a way that I would really enjoy more than picking up a laptop dock or another portable display or a wearable display or something like that, and using a more traditional slate phone that had better cameras.
So
I mean, even the Xiaomi now does that.
yeah, no, and I think that's the biggest thing that to try to kind of explain where we are. To me, when I think of a foldable, the folding part is obviously the interesting, but that gets you in. But it's supposed to be a powerhouse. And I think this is where, okay, and kudos to Google for it. And I need to obviously give props where props are due. Google didn't jump on this bandwagon at the beginning of the wave. It jumped in after many iterations and many years of foldables from Samsung, from Xiaomi, from Vivo, from everybody else.
Don't forget the Flex Pi.
Oh yeah,
the
no,
Royale. That was really important. And what was also who was it? It was the evil mobster drug peddler guy.
I'm
from Narcos.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
How come my brain is so switched cheese? I'm so tired.
Sorry.
I was almost falling asleep at my desk.
Oh,
and
dude,
I almost just had his name again. Hold on. I have to look up Narcos. This is so bad.
Right before we started the show, we were finishing off season 4 of The Walking Dead. So we were binge watching all 11 seasons because that's what you do when you have that much on Netflix. But the biggest thing I'll probably say is
the Escobar. The Pablo Escobar.
Pablo Escobar. Okay.
God, how can I forget the Pablo Escobar name? So real quick, because we've already interrupted our show for a ridiculously terrible reason, I want to say hey to Tech Love and Mama. We've been seeing a couple other comments in here. I have to throw this shout out here because it's the phone that refuses to die. Steve Pogue saying, speaking of bending a second screen on a counter, I do that with my V60 dual screen. I bend the second screen around my desk, open the digital clock app, and dim the main screen. So now I can look over to see the time without having to touch my phone. I know we've got Sean in the chat, and he is a huge fan of the LG V60. He's always so excited to talk about it whenever it comes up on the other live streams and podcasts. So, I mean, it really is. I don't know how the chat feels, but really, I don't know that they've really succeeded in building better phones than the LG V60. It really does seem to be
LG really
sort of
needs
the high water mark.
I really feel like LG's experimentations kind of ushered in a certain level of experience, and they had a hit with the V60, with the V50, with the oh my God, what was the last one they did?
Did you say the LG V50? I have that here, also within arm reach, in the Korean dual display.
Well, no, yeah, that's exactly, because I remember when I borrowed that one from you for, I think it was like a short time, right after our our Sprint meetup that one time.
Anytime you need to borrow the Korean LG V50 in the dual display case, if you can borrow it anytime. It's still a really good phone.
I would like to borrow it at some point, as well as a bowl of Japanese ramen at some point.
Oh, you mean like my chicken and mushroom? My super double heavy umami ramen?
According to my watch right now, we are literally years into the promise of a bowl that has yet to materialize. I just want to bring it up here because if I don't mention every once in a while, there is no record of it.
I started working on this recipe 6 months before the pandemic.
I was going to say, this is
I still have not gotten you.
And I've been to your place a couple of times since. It's not like I didn't show up. But I want to put it on the record just for everybody to hear. I'm not bitter about it. I am not like obsessed with the fact that this thing keeps me like at some point this is going to sound like it's a pot of gold or a bowl of gold with a spoon inside of it. But yes,
I would also just like the chat to realize I mentioned LG V60 and our viewers went up by 9. So apparently it was almost a 50% jump in viewership.
We need to change our names for TK V60 to JCB V50 and then we'll be fine. The channel we'll definitely make our numbers. But no.
I want to get us kind of back on track because we were
No, absolutely.
ostensibly still sort of talking about the Robo and Kala.
Kind of, but I did know. I did
We've
want to
kind of
finish off
moved on.
the my comment toward Google and their Pixel, the Pixel Fold that they have. They really went for the right form factor, like you said. What we saw with Microsoft and with the Duo and the Duo 2 is that the form factor made more sense to not have to open a tablet, open a foldable, and then right away twist it just to be able to get the right form factor every single time,
The right orientation,
the
yeah.
right orientation, as opposed to just opening it the way you want it, close it, make the outside display functional, make it one-handed, make it everything like exactly how it's supposed to. So for that, I do commend them. I like what they've done there. I hope that the experience on the Pixel Fold is better from a thermal situation than what we've seen with the 7 Pro. But again, this is going to be something that they're going to need to fine tune and update it a few times. Again, this is, to a certain point, it is an experiment for Google. This is their first
Yeah.
foldable. The price is high. It's the first out of it's a first of its kind. First of its name. Daenerys Targaryen, all that good stuff.
I think that's because we did the trade
Yeah.
with the Duo and the Fold.
With both
And
the Duo
yeah,
and the Duo
that's right.
2 and the Fold and the
We
Fold.
did
Yeah, we did it twice.
Fold, yeah.
Oh no. One was with the we did Duo with oh
Note.
my God, it was the Note with
'Cause it
the
was
Note.
stylus.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the stylus, and
It was the
then
Note 20.
the year after that we did it with the Fold.
But
Yeah.
this is exactly where I feel a part of our industry is trying to just say this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I feel this group of nerds that are watching our stream right now are exactly the people who already have a good handle on right tool for the right job. You can appreciate the nuance of where something like a Fold is really going to rock someone's socks, going to be the exact right fit for their needs, but they're not the kind of people who are going to be inclined to make some sort of broad, overly general consumer statement about, well, this is a premium phone and it needs to do this and it should have cost less and this is what average consumers will buy. They're already primed for that. What I'm worried about are the people who are tech enthusiastic but don't operate at that level of nuance.
Yeah.
And we're running hard into plastic folding screens are the future, jump on the train.
Yeah.
And so, especially above the flip style, which I think the flip style are more familiar, and I think that's why they've been selling better.
Yeah.
The fold style have these fundamental philosophical questions to them that I don't feel we've really answered with tablets yet. So many people look at a tablet as a second screen for some lazy browsing, streaming some video, and light casual gaming. And people in this chat know you could replace your entire production workflow with an iPad. The thing's a monster. It is way more powerful than it needs to be.
Absolutely.
Apps are not taking advantage of how powerful it really is.
Not of the M1 or the M2. Yeah. No.
As much as Apple is running away from what's a computer, it is a computer and it does that compute power. We haven't sold that to consumers. I'm talking to the parents of my kids' friends and they are not up to date at all. So it was last day of school for LA this week.
Yeah.
And for the very last day, we had kind of a weird half day, and we're out at the park. And I knew one of the other moms was bringing her older son. And I was like, hey, I've got my Steam Deck. Mason and I, we can just hang out. I know he's going to be around a bunch of 6-year-olds. He's like, a middle schooler. He's not going to want to hang out. She was like, that'd be great. So I put the Rokid Max on him, and I put the Steam Deck in his hands. And I had so many questions from parents like, is that like, is it like 2D? Does it do 2D? What is that like? What is that? Is it like VR? And we could not speak the same language. I was having to go back to like explaining the basics of like monitors to then start trying to tell them about what the experience was like. And so many of them were just like, oh, it's okay, I don't need to try it. It's like, I could just put it on your face and then you would know what this is like. Oh, it is, but it's like a 2D thing, right? It does the 2D. And you're like, Where are you coming up with these words?
It's because
These
so,
words
okay.
are completely out of context, and like you have
I
no idea what you're talking about.
So it's because their experience with glasses has been with the 3D glasses for the TVs. That was the last time they had to use their when
they go to a movie and they put glasses on
absolutely
and they see,
you go in there and you want to watch
that
it
poked
for
out from the screen.
it not or you're doing the 4D where it pokes out and slaps you across the face. No. It's one of those things that you have to kind of explain. It's like, look, these are not your TV glasses. These glasses are the TV. It's like a different, it's like Inception within an Inception. And then these are crazy good. And this controller or this gaming system, where you typically would have a hard time looking at it outside if it's too bright, is suddenly in a personal, private experience. You're in it. You're inside of the experience, and you're enjoying it. You could do this anywhere, in the park, in the car, as long as you're not driving. Obviously, on a flight.
I got one mom to
that
try. I only got one. And again, it was like a whole gaggle of kids and parents there, and I got one mom to put it on her face. And then the second she saw Tetris blocks, it was game on.
Yeah.
And so she's got the Rokin Max, and she's dropping these Tetris pieces, and like she's gone. She's on another planet. She's playing Tetris Effect. The music is on those little earpieces right over her ears, and she's on another plane of existence.
I can imagine.
It was like teaching a gorilla sign language, because she could not describe that to the other moms there. It was
it's exciting.
So experiential and so outside the realm of what she had tried before. And we're not talking about like old ladies here. We're talking about people younger than me.
No,
I'm kind of an old parent for a grade schooler.
Well, them young folks don't know what they're talking about. Back in the old days, we used to put them glasses on, and we do, 2D, 4D, 6D, and we also used to do Jenga and all of the good stuff. Yeah.
So this is what I'm worried about is when we allow sort of a marketing conversation to happen free of that context. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're going to run into troubles where the people who will really benefit from the Pixel Fold and the Z Fold and these other foldables, the mini tablets, that is such a tiny slice of people who really understand what's happening at the bleeding edge. That is a very small community of people that will maximize that. So I think you're going to get a lot of people who are just interested in the freak show of that. And then they're going to bounce off of it. And I don't think they're going to come back. Oh, I tried one of those foldables before, and it was kind of interesting, and I could watch movies on it. But you know what? I just think it's probably better to have like a separate tablet and a phone and blah, 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 blah. And you'll never win them back. If we hit this too early, you're done.
Yeah.
If we don't really stick the landing on what this experience offers, that you can't kind of do better for cheaper from that consumer expectation, then the game is over. And then Apple will come out with something at $4,000 and everyone will act like it's the second coming.
It'll be like this whole, they just invented tablets and phones together, and they just merged the iPad with the iPhone, and it's called.
And you don't even need to use any bulky controllers with your foldable iPhone.
I wonder how did
who's using bulky controllers with foldables?
Like, who does? Nah, I know. Only some gadget guy that. No, I'm just kidding. The experience is still. I mean, so I'll say this. More than likely, reviews are going to start dropping roughly around the week when this is available. So not next week, maybe the week after. We'll start seeing some buzz going around it. I'm going to basically be focusing mostly all my effort into the Pixel tablet, because I felt like this was like the Pixel 7a did have its own allure to it, and I felt like it was a great budget-friendly device. It was still not what I felt like was like the most innovative out of all three announcements. The Pixel Fold is too expensive. The Pixel 7a is great. But the Pixel tablet is that tablet that we haven't seen, that 2-in-1 experience of a dockable display with more functions than my normal, Nest Hub Max. So I'm excited for that part. I want to see how that works. And also the fact, because you can actually detach it and take it with you as a tablet, makes this portable, and you could travel with it. You don't necessarily have to leave it at home.
The
dock
Pixel
is nice.
tablet validates all of the ire that I used to throw at smart displays. Because I would just get a cheap tablet and keep it up in the kitchen.
Yeah, because it does exactly. You can
look
move
at that.
It, bring it back. Yeah.
With this, do I still have one over here? I think I do. So I invested in this $9 tablet stand.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
I
yeah, I
would put a
remember that.
tablet on this. See, this is $9, so it's a piece of plastic. And then I had a smart display.
Who would have
That's
thunk it?
just
Who would have thunk it?
crazy.
No,
And
no.
now I don't even use this. This is on my shelf right now because in our kitchen right now is a Duo 2. It's our
A
kitchen computer.
self-propping.
It's
It's a
the smart
self-propping computer.
display
No, no.
kitchen. So
It makes
but
perfect sense. Yeah.
it always bothered me that we were taking a tablet and sticking it to a permanent dock. So now the Pixel tablet is answering a problem that I've always had with these smart displays because it's not that smart if it can't follow you around your house. And now it can. So
Now you can.
I'm a lot more positive on that.
And again, that's one of the things I felt like between the things that I felt like what would be more compelling for me, especially with mobility and content and everything that we want to do. I want to see how they do it. So I'm looking forward to that part next week. And of course,
For
we'll
sure.
see how people feel like about the Pixel Fold. Like I said, I may end up borrowing one of if my friend's unit gets in before a trip that's coming up in a few weeks from now. I will definitely be trying out. Actually, not only that, I have cases from VRS Design for the Pixel Fold. It's like I feel like like you get the saddle before the horse, and you're like,
Right?
I should have got the horse. And then if you try to order the Pixel Fold now, by the way, it's in August or whatever. There's obviously they're sold out.
Hmm.
But kind of bringing it back a little bit, we're going to find out what happens. There's going to be a lot of talk about that. I think Google has a ways to go to improve the experience on foldable, and I think the benefit that we have here is that there's the native support now for certain functionalities that I think other tablet manufacturers or phablets or foldable device manufacturers will be able to benefit from. We're not there yet because it hasn't been fully implemented for everybody, but at least what we see here now, the
Hmm.
benefit of 12.1 from last year, 13.1 and all, are
Sure.
going to start permeating to others, to Honor,
Yeah.
to Xiaomi, and all of that. And I think I
We've
can't wait to
already
see those.
seen the practical output
No, no,
of
I know,
that
and that's what I
software
meant to say.
improving the experiences and
It's
stuff
been
too. Yeah, for
working,
sure.
but the more Google centralizes it. I mean, remember, Samsung invented the split screen functionality on Notes
Yeah.
years before Google implemented it. But the moment
Hmm.
Google implemented it, everybody was able to get that feature, and I think that's the
Yeah.
big thing about it. There's the excitement of what Google's trying to do, but there's also the excitement that comes after that because of what Google's trying to do.
I'll be really curious to see because like we both spent time with the OnePlus Pad. You getting the Pixel tablet, and now
Oh,
spending
and the
time with
Robo and Kala.
another Robo and Kala.
Oh my God, I forgot
I'll
about the
be
fact.
curious to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
see if Android 13 feels as fresh when you can directly side by side an Android 13 tablet against a Windows on ARM machine. Because
Which one would I gravitate towards more to be able to execute my functions? Yeah,
I
no, no,
don't. Like again, we like to silo these things. Like we have Android conversations as if Android is a complete ecosystem and we don't need to step outside. But picking up something like the Surface Pro 9, well, yeah, that was really great, but it was also really expensive.
yeah,
I felt it was justified. You were a part of the Surface ecosystem. Microsoft makes great hardware. Now I'm picking up a Robo and Kala that you can buy fully spec'd out, furnished, accessorized, with a ridiculous amount of storage for what was like
oh yeah.
40% off the price of a Surface Pro 9 to
Oh no,
match.
absolutely, absolutely. And then actually, I did not get a chance to look at the specs. What is the internal specs on this thing?
Haha, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage with the you have to use a special suction cup tool, but
Yeah,
you
I saw
can
the
pop
thing.
the
I saw
cover.
I saw your video. It was like,
Yeah.
was that? It looked like a suction cup that you would use to take a content lens out for some reason.
But it's not. But
It does
it
look like
looks
that.
so silly. I
Yeah,
wish
yeah,
it were
yeah.
pin tool like the Surface. It is not elegant like the Surface, but you can pop that cover, and if you want to throw in a terabyte or 2 terabytes, you can get to that SSD, which is
Yeah,
not something you can do on any of these Android tablets. But
yeah, yeah.
it's as much as we are getting excited about Android or Google taking Android more seriously on larger slates, man, the touch experience on Windows has gotten really good, and I'm not limited to two apps side by side. I can I can just open windows of apps like any other desktop and manipulate them with my fingers so much more fluidly than like we used to be able to on Windows 10.
Windows 11's been getting very good with touch. Ever
It's
since
gotten
we
so
had
good. And then I can
the
add another monitor, and I don't have any iPad-like limitations for how many apps I can run at one time. It's just another computer. So I'll be curious to see. We should probably wrap this up because I still want to ask you about the Nord because we kind of teased that and we should talk about that. But I'll be curious to see your thoughts because it's like the Pixel is taking this big step forward for Android and for multitasking and for split screening, and Android 13 is going to be getting so much better for all of these things that in the past only Samsung could really deliver. And then here comes this little like boutique manufacturer making a tablet that is a full Windows PC that can do all of that and more. So again, I'll just be curious like how you sort of fit with those different ideologies. I think will be an interesting part of the conversation.
No, definitely. And with that really amazingly segue, we're going to talk real quick about the Nord 30. The Nord N30 obviously is a new. I like to call the N series, especially the 30 series, the 2-digit series, not the 300 series. The 300 series are typically lower, more very budget friendly. This one is more budget friendly with a little bit more kick to it, a little bit. The N30 officially came out today. Well, actually, it became pre-ordered, but officially you're able to pick it up today from carriers or directly from Amazon and Best Buy and OnePlus's website. The biggest thing I'll say about this device is a couple of things. Some of the things that we've seen missing or we're losing some things in some experiences are here. The headphone jack is here. The expandable storage is here. We have this was something that I found that you probably will enjoy in my video, but I actually found out that the advertised charging speed that we have on this phone is not accurate. It's not accurate in our benefit because it actually charges faster than what it's advertised. So in the box, and I mentioned this in the video, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I dropped the video earlier this morning. The charger in the box just says, it keeps saying basically it's a 50-watt charger. It says Super VOOC when you plug it into the phone.
Sure.
But if you happen to have, like you and I, multiple chargers from OnePlus over many generations, it actually charges at 67 watts. It's a nice little 17-watt extra charging speed that you're able to push through this. And of course, the thing about this is at $299, the 6.73, almost 6.75 inch display, the 120 hertz refresh rate, the overall experience, it screams content consumption. Playing, you can play games with this. It's 6 series. It's running an older chipset. It's running the 695, not running a 6 like that. We don't have a 6. I want to say a 6 Gen 1 there is no generational upgrade for that. Qualcomm, for the most part, has stuck to the 7 series, and I think they talked about the 4 series, but not the 6. So the processor was a little bit older, but it's still quite a capable processor. It's literally the best 6 series that we could find. The configuration with the stereo speakers, the display, the audio, and all of that good stuff, it screams value and it delivers so good. So I can't really say enough good things about it. For the $300 price point that you're picking this up, you are not going to be disappointed. The one thing I will say, it literally pretty much for the most part has one sensor on the back, even though it's claimed to be a triple camera sensor. They're doing the whole one great and 2 complementing sensors. So from a depth sensor and a macro lens, those are the 2 sensors, but the 108 is where it shines. Sure. And the 108 delivers. Oxygen OS processing gets in there, does that really good job. Video is capped at 1080p, and I think I wish we were able to get something better, but not even 1080 60, 1080p 30. But it's consistent on the front and on the back. And at least what you're getting there with the price point is a decent first-time phone, a good backup phone, a good phone for grads or somebody that's getting into the smartphone experience, or even a parent or something.
It's an accessible communicator, and with the 695, that is still more powerful than the daily driver needs of an accessible communicator.
But the material they went with this feels like a $700 phone. This is where it kind of got me like, this is really hard. I mean, it's plastic, but it's hard plastic. Like, it feels solid. It doesn't feel like the regular Nords that I've seen before. Like some of the other devices that we've seen, like where like the bag feels like it's going to bend a little bit. This is solid. It looks great.
I was going to say, I don't think I played with many Nords except for the original.
The original Nord, the original one that launched in the. So for me, I've loved checking out those devices because they offer a very unique experience. It's a very OnePlus experience right now, right? It's between OnePlus, the 7A now, obviously, which would be another competitor there,
Oh, yeah.
or even the A54, right? And honestly,
Yeah, that's fair.
it jumps right under the A54 for the price point, because even on special, it's a little bit there. Yes, the A54 probably has better camera setup, but the speed performance that we get from Oxygen OS is through and through here, and you'll have a much faster, smoother experience. Even with 8 gigs, you're able to add another 4-page file type of
Because I want
RAM.
to say the last inexpensive phone that you and I both got to play with, again, this is what's so tricky is because we can talk about a phone that's MSRP $300.
Yeah.
We know you're not going to spend $300 on
You'll
this
never.
phone.
Yeah. This is the hype. This is the beauty about this. This is literally the highest you'll ever have to pay, which you'll never have to pay.
And you shouldn't. Again, I made fun of a tech preacher, Eric, over at Easy Computer Solutions, because when we got the stylo, I got it for $140 shipped to my door. He spent over MSRP to get a stylo. And he was like, no, this phone isn't very good. And he was like, well, yeah, because you spent $350 on a $200 phone. So I would be frustrated.
No, absolutely.
But, sorry. My brain just popped. TCL.
Yeah.
And TCLs typically go down to like 400 series SoCs at around $200.
Even on their tablets, they've done 400 SoCs on their tablet. I think TCL.
I wish we got more of their internationals where we had the Companios. I have a TCL with a Companio. We were just in the chat. Simon Says Hypno was talking about his Chromebook, and it's running an ARM SoC. And the TCL I have that has a little Companio is pretty solid. It's not a screamer. It's not a powerhouse. But it's more performant than a 400 series. It's the Verizon model of the TCL.
Oh yeah. It was a 5G. It was the Pro series.
And it has the 400 Snapdragon 400 in it.
Yeah, they were able, and it also supported UW, which is also another weird thing. Like
that's why they went with Qualcomm for millimeter wave in the United States. But the tablet doesn't perform as well as the international flavor, which is running a MediaTek.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to rack my brain. You do have to spend a little bit more if you go up to a Pixel. I think that's understood. The only other company I think that's kind of batting near this would be Motorola.
Okay.
So OnePlus is actually in a position right now where for entry level, they're in really good shape with the Nord.
Yeah.
And this is a phone that people would take for granted, like with Vivos and iQOOs and Pocos and Realmes. We don't get any of those here. And so even though it only has a 695, I can't think of much else that's really kind of playing the same game 300 or less.
Exactly.
Here in the United States.
But not only that, it's going to be in stores. That's the thing that we didn't see with the 11 earlier this year, where we saw them selling it straight as unlocked. This is going to have a T-Mobile variant. I don't know if it's going to have an AT&T and a Verizon specifically, but it will be. It does support them.
I would be shocked if this doesn't show up on MVNOs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing about it. It's a screamer for a free phone. You sign up, you get a free phone. You add a line, you get a free phone. And this is going to be one of those phones that doesn't disappoint. This is really where I feel like you're not getting that feature phone. You're really getting a good OnePlus experience, and it gets you into that OnePlus ecosystem. And I feel like from an aesthetic, one of the biggest thing I really liked about it is that mirror finish works to your benefit. Like you could see the reflection right there. You could see yourself when you're filming. Like you could totally see. You can center yourself.
I love being able to catch that reflection.
In the past, that used to be an issue for me, but you've converted me on that one. It absolutely makes sense to have reflective material as long as you have a good case, which I need to get some cases on this. So that would be my only thing.
Yeah.
There's no case. There is a screen protector. It does support SD cards as well as now supposedly there's supposed to be 2 variants of this. Currently the 128 is being released, but the 8256 is supposed to come out at some point. So long story short, check out the video, check out some samples, check out some content from there. Gaming on this, obviously, PUBG solid 40, Call of Duty solid 60 frames per second. And that was with recording at the same time, which means that the system was being taxed even extra.
That's good.
But yeah, it's a good, solid entry level bang for the buck type of experience. Definitely.
So Steve Pogue is saying what gets me about the Nord is that it's just a higher spec N20 from last year.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, like I agree. I think we're going to see a lot of that.
This
Like
year's been a lot of
the Pocos have only caught up to where they were at peak LTE. And the jump to 5G actually took a lot of the Poco line down a tier in terms of performance.
yeah.
So now people are like, oh, now they're finally getting. But if you really look at what chips and what combinations of like, processor and GPU and RAM and storage that they're getting into now, we're kind of only catching up to where we were right before the launch of their 5G products. It's like
Yeah.
we dropped and then had to recover. And so I think a lot of companies are kind of going to look at, well, we can kind of hold in place, but maybe we refresh this one feature. We can put a bigger marketing number on the camera, or we can add 30 hertz to the display or something, but it's not a radical departure. I think we're going to be in a holding pattern
Yeah.
as consumers figure out where they want to spend money, and the economy is still on fire right now. I don't think anyone's going to do anything much more daring.
Yeah.
And then I also want to mention Michael Corcoran's comment that the TCL stylus was $20 at Metro if you ported your number over, and it was $80 if you started a new number. Lex loves the TCL stylus. She loves that phone.
It's a crazy good. Yeah.
So she was playing with this phone, my Moto Edge Plus 2022, with the little stylus sleeve, and she dropped it a bunch of times, and I was like, well, I'm actually using that phone, so you can't play with Daddy's phone anymore. So I had the TCL stylus, and she sees the little like button, and she pushes the button, and it clicks out, and she pulls out the pen, and that little bugger had the gall to say, "But Daddy, the pen's in the phone, not like your phone."
She's like, I found something better. It's like, here, let me explain to you. This is a, yeah.
I fired up Sketchpad. The first thing she drew on the TCL stylus was Spot from Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
So she drew him fully powered. So she did this crazy, almost like Slender Man style blob of a human figure with the little white spiral circles to make the spots all over him. And we're like, wow, that's nightmare fuel, but good job, kiddo. That looks really good.
You may want to take
stylus.
her out and check out the new Spider-Man when when you guys have some time with the family.
She saw it.
Oh, you guys? Okay,
This
good. Yeah,
little girl,
we saw it last week.
like her father, who is fidgety as sin. That's why I have Transformers behind me, is because they're my fidget spinners. I'm constantly like taking micro Transformers and transforming them back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
The pen on the Robo and Kala has been my fidget spinner ever since I got it today.
It's good, right?
That tactile feeling on it, the little ridges that it has.
The ridges?
You can spin it, but then I'm not even flipping it. I'm just literally just flick.
Rotating it in your fingers, yeah.
Yeah,
I do the exact same thing.
Oh,
it's
my God.
awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's great.
Back to Transformers, because there's that also in the movie theater.
Oh, no. So I was gonna say is she's like me. She's constantly manipulating things.
Yeah.
We get through the trailers, and a friend of hers had a little birthday party where the parents got out like 2 whole rows, and so the parents and the kids could watch, but they put all the kids in the front row and all the parents behind. So she wasn't sitting with me, and usually that's like pretty bad, because if she gets too fidgety, she could really annoy people. Surrounded by other kids who were lit up to see this Spider-Man movie, the instant Gwen Stacy is on screen, that girl...
Yeah, sorry, no spoilers on that one, but yeah. No.
Focused.
Yeah.
And she sat fixated on this movie until the credits started rolling, when she got up from her seat, turned around and looked at me, and panically said, "I really have to go to the bathroom." And we ran to the bathroom as fast
Oh my
as
God,
we
she had to
could.
go to the bathroom in the middle of that. Like,
That
pause the
girl
movie.
Plowed through,
Yeah.
I think it was a bag of Skittles, a medium-sized popcorn, drank, we didn't have sodas, they got bottles of water, but drank a grown-up sized bottle of water, but did not move over 2.5 hours of Spider-Man. She was there for it. That movie is so good.
It is so visually compelling. The cinematic, the conversations.
Man.
I love the focus on Gwen in this conversation a little bit
And
more
the
than what we
music
got last time.
continues, where the first one had a banger soundtrack. This one has a banger soundtrack. It is so good.
The ending, I was a little bit like, oh my God, why? But then otherwise, I kind of get it. But it was, yeah, it was definitely one of those movies that you just, wow, like it was good. Like, so
Yeah,
yeah, what we didn't see it the first week when it came out. We waited a week later till crowds kind of died out a little bit because, again, we wanted to be good friends with people, but we
for
just didn't
sure.
want everybody on top of us. But yeah, we're definitely excited for that one. And speaking of actually soundtracks and audio and everything like that,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, you also have a nice pair of buds that you're taking a look at right now. I don't think you
I
dropped a
do.
video, but you have.
I am so way behind. I actually had to send an email to the PR team. I had been listening to these earbuds for a while,
Yeah.
and I like them. They are very interesting earbuds. They're a little on the pricey side, but for a certain type of audio enthusiast, I think they're really going to like them. So this is Status Audio. This is the sorry, I always have to say, because there was a Between Pro, but these are the Between 3 ANC. And
What am I doing
so,
here?
oh
Hold on a
no!
second. I'm
Oh,
trying
I'm
to. Yeah.
sharing my screen still. That's why. Hold on, let me stop that.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
we
No, no,
go.
no. I meant to do this part. Yeah.
So they are a very unique kind of Uhura shape.
Oh, I saw an email on those actually, if I'm not
They're
mistaken.
they're
I think they.
they're
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good. I'm trying not to hold up too much because I've been listening to them so much that I need to clean and detail the ear tips
Mm-hmm.
because they have biological evidence of me having used them a whole bunch, and they're cream
Aha.
colored, so that biological evidence stands out a lot.
I
But
would have thought it would. Okay. No, I get you. I get
they're
you. No, no, it's okay. We don't have to see the little bits and pieces. Oh, look at that. It's a
but
silver.
they're
Yeah.
a silver and cream. They're a very interesting design where they've got this kind of like flat cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
And so, hold on, let me see if I can get this in, or do I have the wrong ear? That's why it's not going in that ear. I'm trying to do this mirror image. So you can see it kind of has this like chunky sort of
It does. Yeah,
cylindrical,
yeah.
flat
Stand out
cylinder
a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
rectangle shape. Which is now really weird that I'm using my bone conduction earphones to hear you, but then I have this blocking my ear, so everything just got way bassier all of a sudden. So the 3ANC is notable because
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the first Bluetooth triple driver. No, 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 that's not true. One more had a Bluetooth
I
triple
was gonna
driver.
say, yeah, yeah.
This
Okay.
is like the second, but I think this is the first true wireless triple driver I've used. I'm
Okay.
not saying it's the first triple driver that's ever existed. This is the first Bluetooth true wireless non neckband triple driver earbud. So it's a dynamic driver about the same size as the driver that's in the AirPods Pro.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 10 millimeter ish driver, and then there are two balanced arms, and it is a very articulated sound. So the audio quality conversation on this is a little bit different than some of these other premium single driver earbuds that we've played with in the past. The ANC is pretty solid. But the other thing that I really like, again, I'm just gonna hopefully not show off a whole bunch of schmutz, is you can kind of see where it's got that offset ear tip with
Mm-hmm.
this kind of bowl.
Mm-hmm.
This bowl here that goes into the sort of the outer ear around your ear canal, they have those adjustable rubber sizers.
Oh, okay. So it has a good
So
fit. It sits there and it becomes the
these
whole.
are so stinking comfortable. I love the OnePlus buds, but the second I start chewing gum, they slide right out of my ears. Like there's no grip. So
I
that
I've,
this is
I've I've been
a
back to my
rubbery
OnePlus Buds Pro
material.
2.
They're
Now,
so good.
yeah, they're seriously
The
one of the.
OnePlus Buds Pro 2 are great as long as I know I'm never going to move my jaw.
As long as you're
Especially
not,
if I'm
yeah,
like if I'm out walking around and I'm working up just a little bit of a sweat, if I'm going on a hike or on a bike ride or something like that. But what the Status Audio do, that sizer, it's not it's not a rubbery finish, but it's just enough grip to seat the earbud and kind of stick it to the bowl of your ear.
hmm,
So then when the ear tip goes into your ear, it locks in more securely, but it doesn't feel like it's putting a lot of pressure on your ear canal to do it.
yeah,
So it's it's a really good all-day earbud without using foam tips, because usually the only way I can wear earbuds for long periods of time now is if I go with squishy foam,
yeah. I know.
like the periodic audio ear tips are what I'm using now. It's a little pricey. These, I think the full retail on these is $250, so they're in AirPods Pro territory,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Or
they
even
aren't gonna
the
have
Sony Link Buds as well. Yeah, yeah.
exactly, and they aren't gonna have all of the same techie features that like the OnePlus Buds or the AirPods are going to have. But for a very good all-day comfortable fit with a very unique sound signature, these have been a lot of fun to play with. So I should hopefully have a video out on these. I'm hoping middle of next week, where I can just finally write out the script and just say all of the stuff that I've said here, but more articulately than the way I've been rambling. But yeah, the Between 3 are a very high recommendation now.
Good.
For, and again, I'm purposely phrasing this as like someone who enjoys a particular kind of sound and enjoys the more boutique-y experience of trying different earbuds, because again, we caught up so much. There's a very good reason why OnePlus Buds play well with OnePlus phones and why AirPods play well with iPhones.
Yeah.
You need to know that you like taking a step outside to try something different. And here I think you've got a really good solution for that.
I hope it. I hope. Well, we'll definitely make sure to watch that one when it comes out. For me, at least in the next couple of days or so. I mean, I just dropped the N30 this morning with a little bit of a teaser as well. That little short on the Razer Plus, of course, since I've been playing with that one as well. Very very interesting experience with when they put a full display on the outside of the phone. That makes perfect sense on a flip phone like this. This was literally like my number one issue why the Flip and all other phones that I've seen in the past that don't make sense to me is I mean, not that I say I want to play games, but let's just say that I have been hooked on this game for God alone. But it's so easy because like you're holding the phone, you're waiting, you're doing something, you're like, oh, okay, hold on, let me just start doing the game again, and you just jump onto the next match, and you just do that
For sure.
So
it's great.
that's going to hopefully come out very soon. But the next video that I'm working on is the InstaFlow. It's that stabilized gimbal mechanism that they had that they released not that long ago. I've had it with me for some time, and I felt so bad because I've been like behind on so many things. But that's going to be probably my video for the weekend. I'm going to try to shoot that out and try to put that out. I have all the content from the camera.
Well, and I know that the
there.
audience here is very concerned because we have not gotten an update in a while.
Mm-hmm.
The Vampire Survivors 1.5 patch just came out.
Oh, I haven't even
with
checked
a
that.
whole new randomized event sequence, 2 new maps. It goes into the DLC of the new forest. And I know everyone here is anxious to know how far along you are, because now there's like 195 different achievements that you can unlock.
Oh my God.
And whether or not you've been keeping pace with all of your Vampire Survivors.
I'll
You know what's
say this.
really messed
I
up?
have all the updates. Apparently, I am not behind on updates. I haven't had a chance to. So I haven't been. I've switched. I'll say this. I've been switching.
Have
phones
you not
too
been
often.
keeping up with your Vampire Survivors?
I
Am I
have
going to have to
not.
lecture you about eating your vegetables?
Vegetable. Yes, exactly. No.
Okay. Well, here's what I want you to try. I'm
Yes, sir.
doing this purposely as a funny bit
Yeah.
because I started playing 1.5 on my Steam Deck. I actually don't know if 1.5 is available for Android yet.
I don't think so. Because I
don't think it
checked
is.
the update and that hasn't pushed out. But I can download it.
But I
on
started
I'm sure.
playing it on my Steam Deck and I had to stop because it plays better on the Robo and Kala. So Robo and Kala, Windows on ARM, that little Adreno is not going to get it done for really graphics intense AAA gaming.
But are we talking
But
about the Steam version of it? You just installed it out of
The
Steam.
PC
Okay.
version.
PC
of it.
version.
Yeah.
The PC
and
Steam.
I'm saying because I'm playing 1.5, so I'm not playing the Android version right now. I'm catching up with the new end game of Vampire Survivors, the new end game. But I would get into like 3 or 4 weapons and more enemies on the screen, and my Steam Deck starts chugging at like 20 frames per second. I posted it on Discord. I finished one of the new maps, and it couldn't keep up 3 frames per second with everything that was going on the screen, all of the enemies, all of the weapons, all of the particle effects. I couldn't move to get chests because the frame rate had dropped to 3 frames per second. And then I played it on the Robo and Kala and did not have that problem. So just when for when you're putting together your video on the Robo and Kala, look at some of the gameplay, because when it comes to indie titles, that Adreno is so much better
Speaking
than
of
you would
which,
expect it's going to be.
I need to download Steam Deck.
Malik is saying I
Steam
put in at least another 15 hours on Vampire Survivors. I'm at 170 hours on Vampire Survivors from when it launched. It's so dumb. I love that game so much.
Oh my god, I can't. I still under Steam. Okay, let me just download Steam and install it because I might as well do it now because I'm going to be doing it later. I think for me, most of this weekend is going to be basically focused on trying to absorb what this is.
Yeah.
I haven't.
It's good times.
Like I said, it's been some time since we've had the chance to play because the Surface Pro 9 we played with late last year. I know it's not. I know we're like it's not that far. It's only June, but the reality that felt like almost like a lifetime ago. Because remember I returned mine in like mid-January, right after I came back from Qualcomm. Because the thing for me with the Surface is I traveled with it. I lived with it on the purpose on how it was intended to be, where you're landing, you're on a plane, you're waiting for your flight to get to the gate, but you're able to jump on and start doing some work because you're connected and you're ready to go. Or you're standing in line to get on the flight, which is exactly what happened to me, and I needed to do my time card. Guess what? I needed to jump on that thing and get it done. So that's the level of experience that I'm wanting to kind of get out of it, because to me, this needs to be able to fill in where my laptop is obviously not with me when I don't want to bring my MacBook. I just want to be able to do my work and a little bit of gaming if I want to. That's the level of fun that I want. And I've seen it do it.
Such a good around the house terminal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, fire up a video call, have Lex sit at the dining room table, just answer a couple emails, pop it off, stream a video. Like, it is such a good ubiquitous internet connection device.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do something ridiculous like play some Dead Cells, and you're like, it's better at this than you think it should be, which is really fun considering how much less expensive it is than a Surface Pro 9. So we have a lot.
There's a lot more to cover, and there's a lot more
sure.
stuff coming out next week as well. Some good content. My goal is, I was telling this to Juan before I started the show, like my schedule is pretty solidly booked from now till the end of July, and we're not even, what is today? The 15th of June. So for the next month and a half.
Summer.
Yeah, I was like, sure. And then there's still some things popping up, and I'm trying to figure out, because I'm finishing off a Fat Tire e-bike review that I'm doing right now that I need to push out. Hopefully that's next week. I have another scooter that came in that is the only thing I can say right now. It's not it's Nan Robot, the name of the company. It has 1,000 watts of power. That thing, if you accelerate it, you are not holding to dear God on those handlebars, it will fly off and you will land on your butt. I rode it a couple of times and it was like, oh my God, this is the scooter you do tricks with? And I was like, I wasn't expecting that. And it goes up to 35 miles an hour on a scooter. Nuts. That is nuts. So I will be personally buying knee pads and knee pads, elbow pads, all of that, because I have the helmet. I just don't have the rest of the body.
And get the gloves with like the full like wrist.
Yeah, the wrist support, the arch support. Yeah. No, I
don't know what they call that. I used to have a bowling glove that had wrist guards.
Okay,
like
that. Well, it's basically what I used to get from my son from back in the old days. No, I know. So hopefully that'll be, and then that's going to come out after the ad motor one that I have. And I'm also in conversations with some other companies. Like I said, this summer is going to be the year of this. It's becoming the year of bikes for me. And luckily I've been able to work out deals with companies that they let me borrow the bike and then I can just return it, because that helps me from having to have stocking things. It's a small garage, man. I can only put so much.
Like, I really want to be covering e-bikes a lot more aggressively, and I feel like into the summer I'm going to be carving out more time to do some stuff like that. And I'm reaching out to some of the battery companies too to say like, hey, if I wanted to do this and then solar.
Oh yeah.
Could we talk about doing that?
Anchor, I think I'm sure pretty good on those.
Do you run out of space fast?
Yeah,
if you have
those are
a couple e-bike
Well, and it's
setups.
even worse when you have to keep the box because you have to return the bike. So you typically can like get rid of the box or whatever, and then you have like just the bike itself. Like, no, this is me having to keep the box and the bike. So as soon as I'm
Yeah.
done with the ad motor, that one, I hopefully they'll be able. They're in El Monte, if I'm not mistaken. I think they'll be able to pass by and pick it up.
Yeah, you
That'll
really want to say, bring a van and I'll throw it in the back of your van.
it, I wish we could do that. Yeah, no. Velatrek actually had a gentleman come out, and he did have a because I ended up having to swap mine.
Oh,
There was
that's
some
right. That's
issues with
right.
it. He
Yeah.
actually came with a fully assembled Thunder One on the back with like straps, like where you usually would see a motorcycle in a pickup bed. It was just the Velatrek there. So yeah, I'm not gonna shy from asking if they'll do it. I will make sure it's ready to go. But yeah, no,
Nice.
just trying to focus on some of that stuff, trying to get things kind of done, and dealing with some stuff. And I have a trip coming up in early July, so I need to kind of plan accordingly, record in
Hmm.
advance, and get content ready so that when we take some vacation, it doesn't perturb the algorithm gods as as it seems like they're just not really liking me lately. But yeah, that's fine.
It's
But
gonna be good times, TK. I mean, again, this is like, I, I, I think it's just funny because when we have these conversations, it is like, oh man, logistically, this is very difficult. Again, appreciating the fact that this is a very unique situation that
situation,
we're
no.
in, that other people, you're not gonna
Oh
have
no,
this problem. And again,
absolutely.
it's also why like so many of these reviews, like I'm very careful not to say things like, well, this is what the average consumers will be doing, because the average consumer doesn't have 5 e-bikes that they're like trying to
It,
shoot videos about.
and I actually know a gentleman that I met when I was on the trip with MediaTek in Texas, that all he does was e-bikes, and he has a garage full of e-bikes and
Yeah.
e-bikes, e-scooters, and even some of the higher end scooters that can go serious, like 40 miles an hour. Like those are true performers, like the ones that you probably use
Yeah.
on those e-bike or
Oh,
e-scooter races.
those things are freaky. They're
Those are
really cool,
freaky.
but man, they freak me out.
There's, like I said, this one that I have with the Nan robot. I want to say Nan robot. I could be wrong. That pick up the torque on that thing when you kick it in. It's like
Hmm.
whoa, and it really makes me wonder if that the boom is actually strong enough. But it's like it's
Yeah.
hard. The most of the scooters have a clamp, right? It just snaps on.
Yeah.
This thing has a ratchet clamp. Like you have to
I
spin
well
it.
again,
Like you
you're
have
talking
to.
about torque.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, no, no. But I didn't get when I was assembling it. That wasn't what I was expecting. I went outside and rode it for a couple of times. I was like, yeah, I need to buy accessories.
Yeah.
Need some accessories. But
I'm glad you're taking care of yourself, because a lot of people get themselves into trouble. But
no, yeah, not
we
worth it.
should probably wrap this up because we're getting to that.
Oh no, no,
Getting close
absolutely.
to
That
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 2 hour
magic
spot.
time.
But
I do want to say thank you very much for everybody for hanging out with us on this beautiful Thursday, the 15th, the middle of May. Make sure you check out. Will there be an SGGQA on Monday, or are you or
yeah, we're still gonna
okay?
hang with production.
Cool, cool, cool.
I might actually need to abbreviate, do a shorter
Okay.
podcast this next Monday, just with everything that's going on with family.
Yeah. No. That's what I was
But
thinking because I think
we
it's
are
like a
still
long
going to be
weekend for.
doing a stream after Father's Day, just to kind of to check in with everybody and say hey. And there's a lot of news that I think we should spend some time talking about. It got real heavy last week,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the follow-ups to a lot of those heavy stories are encouraging. So yeah, we're still gonna join Monday and have a chat about what's going on.
Very nice. And so make sure you catch Juan on Monday with the SGGQA. An audio podcast version of our show will be coming up within the next 24 hours or so.
Oh, show.
We'll see you guys next week for another episode of the best of our week. I promise you, we are working on trying to work out an in-person
It
kind
will
of a
happen.
podcast. It will happen. The summer
It'll
is
be a stream while we eat ramen.
just thumbs up for that. Just make sure you thumbs up. You
Heck
like
yeah.
this thing and all of that good stuff. Thank you very much. But yes, please, I do want to make sure there's a petition going around for let's Juan make the dang ramen and invite TK over conversation thing. But yes, we'll see you guys.
Mug bang.
It'll be us slurping for 2 hours, and if you like that show, we can make it into a weekly event. All the slurps. But take it easy. Be safe. We'll see you guys next week. Bye bye for now, everybody.
Bang.